If you want to know how to get $200 in bonus bets, make sure you comment Ride the Line down below and we will hook you up. And this is the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G bonafide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is G Money, Grant Mitchell, and we are talking about the NFL. We're talking about how the Eagles suck. I'm going to throw in a rant on the Phillies, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, man, the people in the room. G Money, Grant Mitchell, how you doing?
Tanner, I'm getting to the point where I'm feeling pretty high. I'm on my high horse because this season I've been absolutely crushing it with my picks against the spread. Have not had a losing week yet this entire NFL season. One of my favorite bets of the week was the Giants at plus 7.5. They win outright. I'm feeling really good, really confident going into the weekend. That's right where you want to be as a bettor.
I never expected the Giants to win outright throughout the game. I always thought there were going to be moments where the Eagles climb back in. They didn't get it done. Jalen Hurts throws the pick at the end. That pretty much ruins their chance of climbing back in the game and winning by 3 points, and the Giants still cover. And it was a rough night for Philadelphia sports. And by the way, everyone's saying like the Flyers losing 2-1. Nobody cares about the Flyers. Like, let's be real. Nobody cares about the Flyers. You care about the Phillies. You care about the Eagles. I know we're an NFL podcast, Grant. I just want to bring this discussion up here on the podcast. So if you guys saw how the Phillies lost last night, it was because of a dumb decision by Orion Kerkering. I believe that's how you say his name. He's dumb. Now, a lot of people in the comment section saying, let's pick this guy up. Let's pick him up. Let's support him. I feel bad for him. The weight of the world's on his shoulders, blah, blah, blah. And as much as you can sympathize with the player for messing up, obviously he's a human being, but these men are paid to play baseball. They're paid to play football. Jalen Hurts last night, paid to make play. You get paid a lot of money to be good at your sport. So when they mess up, which is inevitable, you're going to mess up, you're going to make errors, you're going to make mistakes. I don't think we need to like pick them up and be like, hey, it's okay. It's okay. I'm not saying we need to trash them as much as people do, but I also think there's no reason to pick a guy up. Be better at your sport. You get paid to play a sport. I get paid to podcast. I get paid to do this or that. If I have a bad podcast, no one's picking me up. So just because he makes a big mistake on national television and costs his team and city a championship potentially, I don't think we need to go, hey, it's okay. It's not okay. You messed up. Be better at your sport.
Yeah, it's funny because I was listening to an interview with Javon Kinlaw this morning while I was making breakfast, and the interviewer, the host, basically said, how have you been able to adapt so quickly, transition so well, and now have the best year in your career? He said, well, I got to be honest, bro. They're paying me a lot of money. So what else am I supposed to do? That's the answer. That is the correct answer right there.
Yeah, you're paid to play a sport. You're paid to be better at your sport. You're paid to deal with the consequences of messing up at your sport. It all goes together. There's plenty of people out there who would take the $1 million a year, whatever Kerkering's making, to be in that situation and make that mistake. That's the bottom line. So when I see people saying, oh, we need to pick him up, it's so sad. He's probably so sad, right? He should be sad. He really messed up, and he owned it. Credit to him in the press conference after the game. Credit, I don't know what the Eagles did, but I'm assuming Jalen Hurts owned his mistake if he even said anything in the press conference, because he doesn't talk because he's a mute. But yeah, it was just a really poor performance by every Philadelphia team last night. The Flyers, again, they lost 2-1. Nobody cares about the Flyers. People still, like, everyone's like, this is the worst day for Philadelphia sports, and it shows the 3 scores. Nobody cares about the Flyers. People care about the Eagles and the Phillies, and they both are trash at sports.
Yeah, I can tell you what Jalen Hurts said. Someone asked him about his mentality, if it's different between wins and losses, and he said, a wise competitor approaches them all the same. Some more fortune cookie stuff from Jalen Hurts. The guy never actually says anything.
He's not good either. I'm sorry.
I don't want to hear this from you, because when we made our top 10 quarterback list entering the season and I didn't put him on there, you said that was crazy. You had him at number 5.
He's faded off my top 10. It's not that. Again, I think gambling changes your perception on how you look at these guys week to week, obviously. Like, I'm going to bet on Texas tomorrow against Oklahoma, and I'm back. I hated Arch Manning last week. I'm doing it again to myself this week, kind of thing, you know. But I look at Jalen Hurts. There's no fight in this team. There's absolutely no dog in this team. And I think their offensive line is terrible too. That's a big issue for the Eagles right now. But Jalen Hurts, he holds on to the ball too long. They can't run it with Saquon. When you can't run it with Saquon, we're starting to expose Jalen Hurts this year. Last year, they could run it with Saquon. We didn't have to expose Jalen Hurts. So it's just an interesting situation right now. But this Eagles team looks lost. And we say it year after year, like, you know, they faded a couple of years ago in the second half. Last year, they didn't put teams away early in the season, and they got hot later. Now they look terrible. There's always a problem with the Eagles at some point under Nick Sirianni.
And did you see what AJ Brown said after the game?
No, what did that loser say? What did he $32 million a year and you're saying something after the football game? Go catch the damn ball.
Listen, did you see the reports that came out in the middle of the week that AJ, Jalen, and Saquon had like a 2-hour meeting? Did you see that?
Yeah, it didn't help him.
Well, so someone asked him about that meeting, and AJ said, "I don't recall having a meeting, to be honest with you."
Yeah, that was all. That Big Dom probably pumped that narrative into the damn space. AJ Brown does not strike me as anybody who wants to meet with Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts wants to go just sit there and not say anything, and then Saquon's too busy on his media tour to figure out how to run the football again this year. So there's too many issues with this team right now. Like we're watching The Last Dance and we're watching them just fall off. I think you don't go on the road and play like that. I know it's a road divisional game. There was no pride last night. There was no hustle and heart with this Eagles team, and they just packed it in.
Yeah, going down 14-3 in the first quarter against the Giants. And the Giants played well. Dart looks awesome. Skattebo's really fun. Heated up as the game went on. But the way the Giants were playing, the strength of their team is the defensive line. We all know that. And there were so many times where Jalen Hurts was just staying in the pocket for 5-6 seconds. He had all day to throw. There were no big shots. The running game, Saquon has 2 carries for 30 yards and then basically does nothing the rest of the game. It's just, I know they've got injuries, and Eagles fans will be right to point that out. But there's a difference when you can say we would have won this game had this player been healthy. No, they still have problems no matter who is on the field or not.
Yeah, there's no we would have won this game last night. I don't think you can make that case of the Philadelphia Eagles in any way because they didn't want to be there. The entire team didn't want to be there. The offense, the defense, and really their inability to run the ball is their problem because we look at last year how Saquon was able to bail them out so many times. Now they can't run the football, and it's just exposing their problems on offense. Defensively, they lost talent from last year. They are not the same defense as they were last year. And they can obviously get better and better. We know that. It does not look like a Super Bowl team. At this point last year, though, we weren't really saying the Eagles were a Super Bowl team yet. They were still kind of coming out of that early season slump. So you never know what's going to happen. But Jalen Hurts cannot go win games on his own. And I'm starting to realize that because you have the best 1-2 punch at receiver, despite one being a freaking mental case. You have the best 1-2 punch at receiver. You have a good tight end, Dallas Goedert, and you got Saquon Barkley. There's no reason you shouldn't be scoring points.
Yeah, I saw a stat. I think it was from Warren Sharp. I was looking at it earlier today, and I wish I could remember the exact numbers. But if I'm remembering correctly, I believe Jalen Hurts as a passer is completing 21% of passes on third down this season. And that's you want to talk about why the Eagles have that, what I say it was last show. I think I said 47% 3-and-out rate. That's a big reason why. Jalen Hurts, when he's throwing the pass up the right sideline to A.J. Brown where it's man coverage, defender doesn't get his head back, A.J. does, grabs the ball. That's Jalen Hurts' bread and butter. He's one of the best one-on-one shot outside throwers in the NFL. That's what he does. He consistently does it at a great level. Everything else, especially the intermediate and downfield stuff over the middle of the field, he's just not that good at it. And when you watch what this offense does have, Saquon Barkley, who hasn't gotten going, obviously, but still, you've got Saquon Barkley, you've got A.J. Brown, you've got Devontae Smith, and he's turned Dallas Goedert into a Brock Bowers, Travis Kelce type of volume receiver. There's clearly something wrong with the schematics of the offense, but there's also something clearly wrong with the way that the quarterback is executing the passing concepts.
Yeah, he's not making plays. He's not making enough plays. You got Devontae Smith running open, butt naked, down the middle of the field, nobody within 15 yards of him to any side, and you missed that. Right there, the game was over.
They always teach you in that situation, throw it soft. Make sure they catch it. Take the 50-yard gain versus the boom or bust of touchdown or a 0-yard gain. You just miss it.
That was embarrassing. The whole night was embarrassing for the city of Philadelphia. It's a trash city. It is a trash city of sportsmen. I will stick with that. It's a trash city, and they think they're like this really dominant sports mecca, right? The Phillies can't do anything. The Phillies always collapse. The Eagles have won Super Bowl recently.
76ers.
And the Nick Foles. 76ers haven't done anything recently. This is a trash sports city. They're a fake sports city. And I look at just this team is not Jalen Hurts. And I know like, people say this and it gets clipped, and then like we go on, they win championships, right? Whatever. I do not think after watching last night's game and watching how this team has played that Jalen Hurts, there's one piece that you can't have. Even if you put an offensive line in there, I don't know if that does because defense isn't good too. And the heart's not there. Like the one thing I wouldn't expect from a Nick Sirianni coach team, the one thing is lackluster effort. I would think that these guys are going to play hard. That's one thing I want to expect and see because I know the talent's there. Obviously, they can get better. They can add pieces. But when you go on the road to face the New York Giants in division game and you're going against a rookie quarterback and you come out with that effort level, that's where I have the biggest issue here.
I want to see what the new odds. So the Eagles are still minus 125 to win the NFC East. The Commanders are plus 175. Cowboys plus 550, Giants plus 6,500. Now, I don't think they're going to win it, obviously, but I do think there could be some value on the Commanders and even the Cowboys there.
The Cowboys have the worst defense in the NFL, though. I don't know if that's really conducive to winning divisions.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick them to do it, but we'll see what happens, I guess, because I do think the Eagles are going to continue to lose games. I don't think they're that good. I think they're about average right now. I've said that all season long, and Eagles fans have called me haters, which I've got the Commander stuff behind me. Like, I understand why that would be the assumption. But if you just look at the numbers and if you watch them play, you go back, you watch the all 22, it's an average football team right now.
Words cannot describe how dumb the NFL schedule makers can be at times. Like, they are stupid. Like, you're gonna have the Eagles go be at Minnesota, and then they get the Giants again. Like, why?
Well, so the Eagles Commanders looked like one of the up and coming rivalries of the NFL after last season. They play in week 16 and week 18. So the first game isn't until week 16, and then it's 2 and 3 weeks. And in week 18, you're probably going to have starters resting.
Like, I'm going to be honest, it'll be interesting to see how the Eagles come out against the Giants at home in 2 weeks, basically knowing they just lost them. But in no world, looking at a schedule in the beginning of the season, should we be stacking division games 1 week apart, doing it multiple times in a season. Like, maybe once, I get it with scheduling conflicts and all that, not twice. There shouldn't be back-to-back games basically against 2 divisional opponents. That just takes the fun out of the division games.
Speaking of the division, though, before we transition, I do want to give credit to the Giants because Jaxson Dart looks like he can be with a rookie quarterback. It's okay if they make mistakes. You saw what they had, like 5 straight possessions of turnovers against the Saints last week. Dart had a fumble, a couple of interceptions. You can accept those mistakes as long as you see the flashes, the great stuff from them. And you saw that on full display against the Eagles.
Brian Dable's got to cool it a little bit. Like, he's really gotta, like, he's got to take his love for I know Jaxson Dart is saving his job by the week, but he needs to take a step back. And like, when your guy goes in the medical tent, like, how many head coaches are rushing into the medical tent for a guy that literally jogged off the field? Like, this is not like he tore his ACL. It's not like he's concussed and you can't see anything. The man jogged off the field. I don't think Dable needs to go sprint to the medical tent like he's going to get a donut to check in on Jaxson Dart. Now, Skattebo, you got to stay in your lane. Like, Cam Skattebo, stay in your you don't need to run to the medical tent either. Go play the football game. Like, you've played what, 6 games in the NFL. In no world should you be running to the medical tent to check on Jaxson Dart in the middle of the football game?
Checking on his boy.
He runs off the field. He ran off the field. He was not injured. He ran off the field. So I think we're seeing like a transition in New York. It's pretty cool. You got 2 white boys coming in, just dominating, but everyone needs to stay in their lane a little bit more. Brian Dable, like, you're making it so obvious that your job relies on this man. Cam Skattebo, just go run the damn football. Like, he jogged off, guys. It's not serious.
I had a buddy text me that CTE is afraid of catching Cam Skattebo.
He's going to have, I feel like he's going to have CTE to some capacity. Like, the video of him banging his head on the wall in college, like, they're just listen, some guys are wired different. Obviously, some guys can take more hits to the head than others, but like, he runs very hard. I don't think he's going to have a 15-year career. with how he runs.
No. He might have a 3-year career.
He's going to be the guy that you look. If the Giants get good, you're going to look back on him and be like, yeah, that running back, Cam Skattebo, he really helped us get started here. Like, that's where you're going to be at with him, just because of how he runs the football and how they run him too. And Jaxson Dart's going to have a 3-year career the way he's playing right now too. So like, he needs to cool it.
Yeah, like people talk about, for example, Jaden Daniels takes too many hits. Jaxson Dart is getting crushed out there. He's running like a running back.
Yeah, and then you got Kirk Herbstreit up in the box with his damn dog being like, hey, Jaxson Dart, he's really got to calm down on this, but that's how he plays. He likes play. That's how he brings the energy. Like, no, like it doesn't matter how he plays. You can't take these hits. By the way, the dog is cute. What's the dog's name? Peter?
I don't know. I'm over the dog because he used the dog to go on a press run, and then the dog died, and it was like he was so emotional. And then the very next show, it's a different dog up there.
He's got like 4 or 5 dogs. Why is this dog the chosen one, and the other 4 are just at home?
Because the other ones have to wait for this one to die so he can bring the next one.
And it was a little while, and I think he did get some backlash for that. Like, the other one died, and then like he had a new dog on the road right away.
And like all the TV networks were giving memorials to his dead dog, and he's like, we're devastated. He just shows up with a new dog and starts parading it around.
That's kind of like, it's not animal abuse. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not animal abuse. I don't want to say that on the show, but like, it's a lot for a dog to go to Thursday night football, go to college game day. Most of the times now, the way they're doing it, college game day is not at the place he's calling the Saturday night game. So then they got to go to the Saturday night game, and then they got to fly all the way home. That's a lot of time for a dog in an airplane.
Well, all the other dogs are just chilling back at the house.
Isn't that a lot? Like,
it is a lot. It's a lot for a dog.
I couldn't imagine my dog on an airplane for like 15 hours on a Saturday. Like,
where does it go to the bathroom?
I don't know. Probably he probably just goes and they pick it up.
They just clean it up.
I can imagine the private jet company wants that. But yeah, I guess when you're flying a PJ, ESPN's going to give him whatever he needs though. So there was some other ESPN drama that happened the other day. Did you see? What am I forgetting about? I thought I saw something. Mark Sanchez. That was one thing. That's not ESPN. Oh. That's wild.
That's crazy. I need to see the full report. It looks like they've already kind of figured out what happened, but I need to read it from start to finish because right now this is just a crazy story.
Yeah, he must have been on drugs or something because apparently he got dropped off at the front of the hotel or something. I saw that report today, and then he ran around to the side and started doing like wind sprints. And then
yeah, and he told the truck driver, the hotel manager had told him he couldn't park there. And
yeah, I don't know. But anyways, yeah, that was the media drama this week. So anything else on Thursday night football? What do you think the Giants are going to go over 4.5 wins now?
Is that what they're at? 4.5?
Remember what it was when we were talking about that at the beginning of the season? Wasn't it?
It was 4.5.
Remember we had that conversation at the beginning of the season, like the Giants, like
I thought it was like 5 or 6.
5.5. It couldn't have been higher than it wasn't. Okay. 6.5. There's no chance.
Well, they've got at Broncos, at Eagles, Niners, Bears, Packers, at Lions, at Patriots, Commanders, Vikings, at Raiders, Cowboys. Like, it's still a difficult schedule.
Over 5.5 is plus 105 currently. So that tells me that it was probably 4.5 at the beginning of the season.
So they've got to go 4
and
what? They've got to go 4 and how many games are there now? They got to go 4 and 7 down the stretch to hit the over.
There's only 11 games left. That's crazy. That's great. The season's kind of flying. I mean, NFL season goes a little slower, but college definitely is flying by.
Yeah, I had this feeling last year too, actually, because it does. I don't know. It depends on the perspective you look at it, because I do feel like it is going by quickly, and I felt the same way last year.
But then you get to like the middle of the season, and I'm like kind of like not ready for football to be done, but like you get beat up a little bit betting, and you're like, I'm good or whatever. And then like you have a good week, and you're like, I can't wait. I don't know what I'm going to do without football. You don't realize how much you like football until you're in it. But once you're in it, it definitely gets tiring, like watching it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, guys, we are presented by WSN.com, the World Sports Network. Get your picks and promo codes on there. Grant's going to tell you how to get those $200 in bonus bets, too, and a lot more right now.
Well, no, what I am going to do is tell them to go to the comment section, make sure you leave a comment, and if you just comment, ride the line, we will send you a response on how you can do that. But also, I will give you a little bit of a heads up, guys, whether it's we're giving out that deal, but we do also have plenty of other deals available for you as well over at WSN.com, like Tanner was talking about. That is also where I post every pick, every single spread pick for every game of the NFL season. It's over there at WSN.com. And as I said in the intro, I have not missed a pick, or I've not had a losing week yet this season. Not missing a pick would be crazy. But yeah, haven't had a losing week this season. We're 1-0 with that Giants game under the belt. So I'm excited to see how we do this weekend.
So on Fridays, we talk about a few games. We give picks and props in each one. And we are starting here with a big game between the San Francisco 49ers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This game was supposed to be a 1 o'clock start time. They pushed it back to 4:30 because honestly, the slate is not that impressive this week outside of this game and the Lions and Chiefs, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But the Buccaneers 3-point favorite at home against Mac Jones' San Francisco 49ers. Do you think Mac Jones is a starting quarterback in the NFL? Like a franchise guy? I think he's a good backup.
He's certainly revived his career. His stock is better than it's been. I don't know if he's on that Sam Darnold sort of trajectory, but then again, it took Darnold like 5-6 years being in the NFL to get to that point. Darnold was the second, third pick in the draft, whatever it was. Mac Jones was, I think, 15th. He was a first round pick. So if he continues to be in a good organization with a good coach like Kyle Shanahan, then maybe it's possible. Do I think he's going to go to the Browns and be good? No. But if he's the next Vikings quarterback, if he's the next Packers quarterback, I don't know why they'd get rid of Jordan Love, but that's the point I'm making. Get him in the right system and he might be able to do something.
Yeah, it took Darnold 6 years to figure it out. 6 years, which is a lot of time when you think about it. My fear of Mac Jones is like he was drafted under the Bill Belichick regime. And like, does that mean anything at this point? That's what I'm afraid of. Like Bill Belichick has fallen off. Was Mac Jones really a starting quarterback in the NFL? I don't know. I look at how he plays and just his body type, and he doesn't strike me as a guy who moves in the pocket like a starting quarterback. Where I look at Sam Darnold and he can move around, he can escape pressure. He's not like super mobile, but Mac Jones kind of just looks like a fat dude in the pocket to me. And maybe it's because he's got all these braces on, but I don't necessarily look at him like a starter. I look at him like a legit backup.
That's how I look at him too as well. Yeah.
So 3-point spread in this game, Grant. Where are you leaning towards?
So the Buccaneers, I don't think they've won a game by more than 3 points this entire season, yet they are 4-1 and look like they could be one of the best teams in the NFL. If we're talking about a futures perspective, as far as teams that could win the NFC, I think there's a ton of value on them to do that. And I don't even know if they need, I was going to say they might need a good draw in the bracket, but I don't even know if that's true. I think the Buccaneers could beat basically every team in the NFC right now. Doing it 3 games in a row is going to be difficult, but I think they're capable of it. But I think you get into this game against the 49ers. The 49ers defense has been going downhill ever since Nick Bosa was injured. Their entire offense is injured. Brock Purdy is injured. Mac Jones is the quarterback, and he's questionable at this point. We're just assuming he's playing. Juwan Jennings is hurt. Ricky Pearsall is hurt. Brandon Ayuk isn't back. George Kittle's on IR. The offensive line's got some injuries, and it's not good to begin with. The 49ers are a good team with a good coach, so they'll find a way to put some points on the board. But I got the Bucs winning, and I think it's relatively comfortable. I think it's like a 7 to 10 point win for them.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, why can't the Bucs? I look at this situation too in the NFC. Like, why can't the Bucs beat everybody in the NFC? Why can't they go to the Super Bowl? I'm starting to feel like that more and more right now, because of like the Eagles last night. And we know the Bucs can beat the Eagles. They didn't show it obviously this season, but they have beaten the Eagles before. The Packers are a really good football team. The Lions are a good football team. Those are the two that I'm like, it's going to be hard to beat one of those guys, especially two if you get them depending on the draw. But the Buccaneers, there's a chance that if they keep winning and playing like they are, there's no reason they can't get a bye to start the playoffs. Like that's how good this team is combined with their division. So yeah, I think this is a very comfortable win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the biggest problem for the 49ers is going to be getting a pass rush and defending the pass. And when you have Emeka Egbuka, you have Chris Godwin, you have
K. Dotton,
McMillan, Tez Johnson, McMillan. Like there's so many guys that can make plays. Like losing Mike Evans was no big deal. Tez Johnson stepped right into the role, and Emeka Egbuka is fantastic, obviously, but Tez Johnson had a big week last week. He did more than he's done. So just a lot of opportunities for the Buccaneers to throw the ball. And Baker MVP right now at 10-1 or plus 900, whatever it is, it's going to keep falling. So I would lock that in soon.
Yeah, I'm looking at these conference odds, and there's just a lot of value. And it's funny because my MVP race right now, the top three guys, and this is in no order, but the top three guys are Stafford, Baker, and Darnold in my personal ladder. I don't know how Josh Allen, we talked about this before. I don't know how Josh Allen's a plus 100 favorite. I don't know how Mahomes is second or third. I don't know how Herbert's up there. Like, it's those guys for me. And if I'm looking at their team's odds to win the NFC, you can get the Rams for 8-1. The Bucs for 10-1, and the Seahawks for 18-1. And like I said, the difficult part is going to be winning 3 playoff games in a row. But do I think all 3 of those teams, Rams, Bucs, and Seahawks, do I think they can beat the Lions in one game? Yes. Can they beat the Packers? Yes. Can they beat the Eagles? Yes. And at that point, that's just them. That's just the rest. I guess the Commanders might be up there, but other than that, there aren't a whole bunch of true contenders in the NFC. I think all those teams have the capability to go on the run.
Yeah, I agree. Especially the biggest thing that would help teams in the NFC is if the Lions and the Packers have to face each other in the playoffs. That would be the biggest benefit to all these teams because it knocks out one of the best 2 teams, in my opinion. And I think the Lions are leaps and bounds better than the Packers. I know they had the rough week against them, but again, that one was set up for the Packers to go out and win. I still think the Lions, if you get them in a situation where, it's a playoff game, depending on where it's located, I do think, especially if it's in Detroit, the Lions have a big edge.
Couple of player props for me in this game. You can parlay all these together for plus 500 if you take Bucs -3 and these 2 props. My first one, I'm going to go Christian McCaffrey over 49.5 receiving yards. I believe Christian McCaffrey is like top 7 in receiving yards in the entire NFL this season. He's been terrible as a runner, but he's been outstanding as a receiver. And some of that does speak to the injuries the 49ers have endured, but they're still injured. They're still not healthy. So in this game, when you do have a backup quarterback, and Mac Jones has done well, but also backup quarterbacks usually not as prone to pushing the ball down the field. They're going to take the safe stuff. They're going to be quicker to check it down. McCaffrey this season goes 73 yards in the opener, 52, 88, 92, 82. You look at those and you think, wow, that's like an elite wide receiver 2, or you can get those might be wide receiver in 1 numbers, and it's your running back. So for the line to be at 49.5, I get it. Tampa Bay has a solid defense, but the thing they're best at is stopping the run. So the 49ers are probably just going to run the ball even less, throw the ball more. That gives McCaffrey more opportunities. So I think that's probably my favorite player prop of this game. And my other one, I'll go Rachaad White over 54.5 rushing yards. Now, this is contingent upon Bucky Irving not playing. He hasn't been ruled out, but he also hasn't been at practice yet this week. Rachaad White last week, 14 carries for 41 yards, 2.9 yards per carry. It's stinky, but it was against the Seahawks. They have the best run defense in the NFL this season. They also have the best run-stopping defensive tackle, and Byron Murphy's got the most run stops in the NFL. The 49ers are not like that. Over the last 3 games, after those injuries have started to take hold, they're allowing 4.4 yards per carry. That's below league average. So Rachaad White gets about 10 to 12 carries. I think he can go over.
Yeah, I'm not as high on the Rachaad White stats this week as you are, just because I think it's a situation where the 49ers are a very middle-of-the-road team when it comes to the pass. They're middle of the road when it comes to defending the run. I think this is a situation where, knowing that you don't have Bucky Irving, you might lean on Baker just a little bit more this week and try to put this game out of reach early. And also, when you look at what the 49ers have been able to do throwing the ball, Mac Jones, 279, 284, 342. They can come in here and throw the ball a little bit. Baker's going to have to throw the ball as well. So I would rather lean on the quarterback receiver combos. Baker Mayfield over 240.5 passing yards, coming off a 379-yard performance against the Seattle Seahawks. Emeka Egbuka seems to be able to get open against anybody, and then you still have so many weapons that you have to account for if you are the 49ers in this game. So I would be leaning on Baker over. And honestly, if the game script plays out how I expect it to, I think Mac Jones is going to have to throw for a lot of yards in this game as well. So I'd take him over 248.5. And based on what the Buccaneers did defensively last week, I can't see them fixing all their problems, even against a inferior receiving core, like the 49ers have compared to the Seahawks. So I do like the McCaffrey play. I think he's going to have a big week catching the ball in the backfield, but I also think Mac Jones is going to have a big week throwing the ball.
I'm sorry, did you say Mac Jones's line is higher than Baker's?
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, they're going to be playing from behind.
It does make sense, but Baker has been on fire. I didn't realize Baker's line was actually that low. I really like that. I'll probably end up taking that.
Yeah, Mac Jones 279, 284, 342. I mean, Baker was 167, 215, 233. It almost like with Bucky Irving, it seemed like the offense was a little more quiet. I don't know what the word is for that.
It was just more steady, like, control the clock, long drives.
Now it's like let's just let Baker go out and throw the damn
let's
ball.
Let it rip.
let the pill rip around the field, and that's what they've been able to do. So I'll take Baker over. I'm on the Baker MVP train right now. Now for Baker to win MVP, where do they have to get to in the playoffs?
Well, you mean playoff doesn't really matter. So.
It doesn't, but it does. Like, you can't have the Bucs sneaking in as like a 9-8 division winner in a bad division. Like, they need to be like 12-5.
I see what you're saying. It's definitely more of a record thing, but a team with a good record is going to go on a playoff run. I see what you're saying. Yeah. I would say to win MVP, I feel like 11-6 is the minimum, and you probably got to get 12-5, 13-4 or above.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying like obviously you need to go win the Super Bowl or anything, but you can't be one of the Buccaneers teams. It's like, yeah, they're just in the playoffs because they play in the NFC South, and they're going to host a division playoff game, and they're not.
I don't look at them this way. I've done that before. That's not how I feel about them this year.
No, me either. But like that's what I'm saying. You can't be that to be MVP. Even if Baker puts up these massive numbers, you can't be a 9-8 football team. So Josh Allen, though, being plus 100 or whatever, plus 135, that's embarrassing. That's what we saw with Patrick Mahomes last year, too, though. He was always like 3-1, 4-1 for a while just because he is Patrick Mahomes.
He's still plus 450.
Which is well, yeah, Lamar's out of the mix now, too. Lamar, did you see Lamar tweeting back at people?
No, I didn't.
Oh, my God. There was a situation this week where somebody was tweeting at Lamar, basically talking about how he gave up on his football team and all this stuff. And the dude was really ripping into him, like really, really ripping into him. So then I guess he sent him a message saying, basically apologizing to Lamar on Twitter, being like, I had brain cancer or had some surgery, and it's really impacted my emotions. And I can't, this is all in Lamar's replies. If you guys want to go look at it, I don't have it right in front of me, but he was like, I had brain cancer, and like my ability, I get angry really easily. And Lamar replies to him, what does that have to do with the shit you said about me? And then this dude was going off on Twitter on Lamar, and Lamar replied to his tweet with the DM.
Like, I'm on Lamar's side. I can't lie.
Lamar's side, like again, if you put something out there and again, we can say things about players. Players should be able to say things about the fans. Like, I agree with that. Now, I am not necessarily on Lamar's side, like in the situation. Like, why are you worried about Twitter, man? Go, like, get healthy, please. Like, don't be.
Well, that's why he's got more free time on his hands now.
I know. Yeah, Lamar had time. He had time. So yeah,
I love Charles Barkley's proposal of, I think it was either like once a game or once a month, once a season, an NBA player should be able to pick out a fan they want to fight and just do it at center court.
That's like, I thought there was something like that I heard the other day. It was the storm in the field. Like, if a fan storms, I think Portnoy suggests this. If a fan storms the field and they openly like mock a player or like flip them off, the player has every right to like beat the crap out of them.
Yeah, that's how it. That's kind of the response to the whole DeMarcado situation that I've seen as well. And I've listened to a lot of thoughts on it, and I think I've kind of settled at agreeing with this one the most. But they say, look, like, some sort of like grab him by the shirt, whatever, like shout at him, like, okay, that you're a professional football player, you're getting paid millions of dollars, you don't deserve to do that. But as soon as you hit them, that's a grown man you're hitting, a grown man who's trained to be violent. And it's like, it's no problem when the coach says it's $100,000 fine, but that's nothing to Gannon. But if DeMarcado did that exact same thing to his coach, would have been a major issue, would have been cut, would have been fined, something like that.
He should be cut. He should be cut no matter what. He should have been cut.
He should be, yeah.
The moment he touched the sideline, they should have said, hey, bring your playbook. Coach wants to see it in the office. That's what they should have said. But no, I don't think, like, it's not like Gannon violently punched him. He slapped him. And I know it doesn't look good optically, but you got to look at it from Gannon's perspective. He's like, this isn't the coach I want to be. Like, that fumble is going to cost Gannon his ability to feed his family. Now, Gannon obviously is going to get a big payout, and he's making millions of dollars a year. But still, in the end of the day, those are the plays that are going to cost Gannon his job. So if he slapped him on the chest and walked away, it's not like he wrung him by the neck and started doing this. Like he got close into him. He said, "What the F is wrong with you?" And he slapped him on his chest and said, "Let's go play football." Like, it doesn't look great optically. Don't get me wrong, but I'm sick of this whole cancel culture. I don't want to be this, blah, blah, blah. In the end of the day, that fumble impacted Gannon's ability to keep his job. So it wasn't like he punched him. He slapped him on the chest. Whoop-de-doo. Hold on to the ball.
I'm with you on that part. They should have cut him for that.
Yeah, they should have cut him. So anything else on Niners versus Bucs before we move on here?
Nah, let's go to the next one.
This is a big game. Sunday Night Football, Lions at the Chiefs. The Lions are now a 2.5-point underdog. We were talking about this earlier in the week. It was 1.5. The Chiefs just find ways to win when their backs are against the wall. That's the only reason for this. You were on the Chiefs. I was like, the Lions looks like a great pick. I don't really know now based on the movement. So are you still leaning towards the Chiefs at -142, -2.5?
Well, to be clear, what I had said was I know that the Lions are a better team than the Chiefs. And I know that I want to pick the Lions, but I'm just having trouble pulling the trigger because it is the Chiefs. I'm not betting on the Chiefs. I'm staying away from this game completely because the Chiefs, backs against the wall at Arrowhead. We've seen this before. We saw it with the Ravens. Now the Ravens are now 1-4, and it looks different now. But at that moment, we were saying the Ravens are the best team in the NFL. Lamar's the MVP, et cetera, et cetera. Should have won 3 straight MVPs. And then the Chiefs come out and absolutely put it on them. They scored 37 points. That was the first time in like 30 games they had scored more than 30 points. So it's just a situation where I am terrified because the Chiefs, and I get it, in sports betting, you're supposed to live in the moment. You're supposed to throw out the past, analyze everything for what it is right now. But with the Chiefs, because they have done it for so long, I'm having a real difficult time separating the two.
Yeah, I think it's the mindset of like, hey, the Eagles are going to win the game last night. Like, oh, they might not cover, but they're going to win the game because they're the Philadelphia Eagles and they're playing the Giants. It's like reversing those old thoughts that you may have in your head. Like, I think in this situation, you always think the Chiefs are going to win. But last weekend against the Jaguars, I would have never thought the Chiefs were going to lose to the Jaguars in a primetime game. That doesn't happen with Patrick Mahomes, right? Like when they're up 14 points, they'd won like 28 straight games, I think, when they were up 14 or vice versa, whatever the number was. They were on a massive winning streak when they got up by 14, didn't finish it. So I don't know if this is the year where we can say Patrick Mahomes is going to get it done. And this line movement is just what we've seen over the course of his career. People always side with the Chiefs at home when their backs are against the wall. I go back to the game against the Ravens and the Lions earlier this year. I would have never thought the Lions were going to go on the road and win that game. So this is a spot where it's a hard game to bet. I give you credit for staying away. I can't stay away from a primetime game. That's crazy. But yeah, I'll probably live bet it in some capacity because I don't really feel confident with either side.
Well, I do have some player props here. Parlay them up for plus 550 odds here. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 really quick. The first two are both involving Patrick Mahomes. I'm taking him over 261.5 passing yards. This could be a typical Patrick Mahomes game where it's like 310 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. But he's going to have to move the ball because the Chiefs' running game is non-existent. And the Lions are going to put points on the board. We know that about them. They're also going to be aggressive. They're going to go for it on 4th down. They're going to force you to play in a way you don't necessarily want to play if you're not 100% comfortable in your team. And right now, it's kind of difficult for the Chiefs to be at that level, but they've got to put everything in Patrick Mahomes' hand. We know that he can get to this line. Like, we know the talent that he has. And with Worthy coming back with Tyquan Thornton being there, that he has started to catch his stride a little bit more. The passing game does feel a little bit more open. And then I'll also take Mahomes over 12.5 yards for his longest running play. Now, I know this sounds weird, but again, the Chiefs cannot run the football. I think they're going to be dropping back to pass it a lot. And Mahomes has been more prone to scramble this season than at any point in his career before that. And he's also gone on record saying, I save my big run plays. I save when I absorb contact for the big games, the big moments. Well, you're going against the Lions, who very well could be in the Super Bowl this season. It's a time where your team, they're trying to avoid falling to 2-4. And at that point, if you go 2-4, you're not even guaranteed to make the playoffs. So this is basically a must-win for the Chiefs. So I like those two props there. And then my final one real quick, I'll take Jahmyr Gibbs over 68.5 rushing yards. Now, he's only gotten over this line 2 times this season. One game he had 67 yards, so he was right there. But the Chiefs, they give up 4.8 yards per carry. Over the last 3 games, that number has risen to 5.8 yards per carry. And the stat that I love, success rate, which measures how they do stay in front of the chains, they have the 3rd worst run defense grade in that category. So there's my 3 picks.
Yeah, I'm going to be on a different running back for the Lions. I'm going to take David Montgomery over 10.5 rushing attempts in this game. When you look at him, he's gone over this in 4 of 5 games this season. The one bad performance was against the Cleveland Browns. 9 carries, only had 12 yards in that one. Went back 18 carries last week, 65 yards. I think this is a game where Lions are going to come out, have to be physical. They're going to have to try to run the ball. I think they're going to work in both running backs pretty evenly. David Montgomery is going to get a lot of burn. So I do like that. Also like your thoughts on the Mahomes rushing prop there too, going over. I would just take him over in general for his rushing yards. I think the Chiefs will be playing from behind at some point in this game. Again, they can't run the ball. They still don't have a ton of vertical threats down the field until you add Rashee Rice back into the mix there. So I would like Mahomes just over 28.5 rushing yards in general, because he's been their one source of being able to run the football. So those will be my 2 plays in the game. I think it's going to be a really fun game to watch. It's always fun watching the Chiefs in prime time. I just don't know. I don't know about this team. I don't have any clear thought on how they're going to come out and play in this one outside the props that I'm taking.
Yeah, I don't either. And it's going to be, if they fall to 2-4, that could knock them down. Currently, they're 10th in the AFC. They could fall to 11, 12, 13, something like that.
Yeah, definitely. So be an interesting game there. It's a really good Sunday night football game. That's what I know. What was I going to say? There was a situation last week with the Chiefs. Oh, Chris Jones, embarrassing effort on that last Trevor Lawrence touchdown. He could have made that play. I truly believe that.
Did he have an injury? Because I saw someone say he pulled up because he had something.
He pulled up before the play even started.
He did. So I need to hear from his mouth that he had an injury, because then I can give him that excuse. But until I hear him say it, it looked like poor effort.
Yeah, and then there's people defending him, being like, he could have never made the play. It doesn't matter if he could or couldn't have made the play. He could chase the football a little bit. He just walked and watched him go right in the end zone. Like, he saw Trevor Lawrence taking off. Go, take an angle. Go try to get him.
I mean, Lawrence fell down twice.
Yeah, there's no excuse there. And honestly, the Jaguars were going to score. And they're on 2-yard line. They're probably scoring. Was that first down?
I don't know when it was. But don't forget, early in the game, Lawrence goes for and they smack it out.
Yeah, he's not very good. It's that whole Clemson contingent. Like, it's a fake. They're fake good down there in Clemson. South
I've got to admit, Trevor Lawrence not being good in the NFL is one of the biggest surprises that I can remember in my lifetime of watching college football and pro football.
It's good he's in Jacksonville, though, because I forget who said this, but somebody on the news laid it out, or somebody on SportsCenter or whatever. It's like, if he was in New York, he'd be Sam Darnold already. He'd be with 3 other teams. But since he's in Jacksonville, they're continuing to give him time, and like, he's their guy. And that's how it should be, because I do think if there's any chance Trevor Lawrence gets good, it's going to be under Liam Cohen in the coming seasons. Like, you should give a quarterback time, especially a guy like Trevor Lawrence. But if he was in New York, he'd be done.
And also with the system as well. Brian Thomas Jr., I know he's had a bad year, but he's a great player. Travis Hunter, ETN's run the ball the best he ever has. If he's going to succeed, it's going to be here.
Yeah, if they use Travis Hunter on offense, because they don't want to seem to do that enough. They don't want to seem to give him the ball. So, Monday Night Football. Big Monday Night Football doubleheader. Again, the dumbest thing the NFL does is stacking Monday Night Football doubleheaders at the same time. East Coast, West Coast would be better than a 7 o'clock and an 8 o'clock start time, both on the East Coast. Buffalo Bills, Atlanta Falcons to start it off. You got the Bills as a 4.5-point favorite on the road against the Falcons. Bills in a not must-win spot, but you want to bounce back, especially after how you played against the Patriots. New England is right there in the division now, if they can keep it up and go on a little bit of run in their games. So Bills minus 4.5 against the Falcons. Grant, what are you taking?
This is my most difficult game to pick the props from of all the big games of the week, the Lions, Chiefs, the Bucs, Niners, the other Monday night game. This is the one I had the toughest time picking my props from. So I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to go back to the basics. Got a 3-legger here, plus 225 odds. We're just going to go, you can call it juice, you can call it simple, whatever, but this is a big game, like you said. Falcons coming out of a bye week, so they're going to have a solid game plan in place. They're at home. They're going to figure out how to feature their best players. For the Bills, it's like, okay, I believe they had the lead in that Patriots game, and then they give it up. The Patriots win. Now they're going on the road after a divisional loss. Like you said, they're trying to get back in the win column. Just stick to the basics. So a little 3-leg parlay here, plus 225 odds. James Cook touchdown, Bijan Robinson touchdown, Josh Allen 200 plus rushing or passing yards. 200 plus rushing yards would be crazy. 200 plus passing yards. Allen, I think he's gotten over that number in every game. Bijan has scored in 2 of 4, but they run pretty much their entire offense through him. Cook had 16 touchdowns last year. I think he scored in every game but 1 this season. So keeping it simple here, but I think this is the best approach for a game that shapes up the way this one does.
Yeah, Cook was trash last week, and I think he does respond. So I like the James Cook touchdown, Bijan touchdown. If I was putting 2 legs in a parlay for me, I also like Bills money line, so that could be a 3-legger right there, plus 281. Bills, Bijan, and James Cook. The biggest thing I'm looking for in this game, there's nothing special about the Buffalo Bills on the defensive side of the ball. That's going to be their Achilles heel, I think, this season. Like, Josh Allen needs to be perfect. Josh Allen also doesn't have a ton of weapons to work with on offense, so that's the biggest thing to look at in the Bills' trajectory this season. But I would say in this one, I think the Falcons are going to be able to put up points. I mean, when you got Drake May throwing for 1 million yards last week and as efficient as he was, I think Michael Penix could throw for a lot of yards this week too. So I would probably lean over on Michael Penix over 221.5. And then if that's the case, I think Drake London's got to go over 65.5 as well. If Diggs is putting up 100, and Diggs ran every route last week with anger. That man wanted to physically assault the Buffalo Bills every time he touched the football. But Drake London should still be able to have a big game.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how Michael Penix does, because he was horrible the first 3 weeks of the season. Career high, 313 yards in week 4. They had their bye week last week. Now they're coming back. So I'm wondering if he can sustain that rhythm through a bye week, or if he's going to revert and not be very great.
He ain't the guy. I'll tell you why. Because somebody said Michael Peen.
Yes.
And he stopped and confronted the fan. You're not the guy if you're doing that, because you should be used to that by now. You're not.
I'm sure he's been getting that since kindergarten.
Yeah. So what are you stopping to confront a fan on that? Like, that's the problem with your last name. I'm sorry. Like, you're not the guy if that bothers you at this point. So I will stand by that. I don't think he's the guy, but I think he has a good week.
It's a shame though, because I am a big Penix guy and I want to give him time. You know, we were talking about Trevor Lawrence and Sam Darnold. Penix has more talent. Actually, he doesn't have more talent. He doesn't have more talent than Lawrence. But point being, he's got talent. So let's at least wait and see. I don't want to. He barely got to play at the end of his rookie season. It's only 3-4 weeks into his second year. I want to see how he does, because I still have faith in him. I liked him a lot coming out of college. I thought he'd be good. So I'm waiting to see how he develops. But go ahead.
I don't like anybody that comes from Kalen DeBoer. The Kalen DeBoer tree. The Kalen DeBoer tree is trash. What happened to Jalen Milroe? I know he's with the Seahawks, but
he's backing up Darnold.
We haven't. I thought they'd use him a little bit, a little package here and there.
I've never been a fan of the split quarterback packages. I've never liked that.
Well, you don't have Jalen Milroe on your team to go throw the football. I'm sorry, you really don't. The man tips his plays, and he can only throw a deep ball. That's it.
I think he was an insurance policy if it was a Kevin O'Connell thing and Darnold was still trash, but turns out Darnold's good.
Yeah. So what else? Anything there before we move on?
No, let's get to the final game of the week.
Final game of the week here. Monday Night Football doubleheader. Game 2, Chicago Bears, Washington Commanders. Your Washington Commanders are a 4.5-point favorite over the Chicago Bears. Interesting game here. Caleb Williams. He's from the DMV, isn't he?
He's from D.C. Went to Gonzaga High School, I believe.
It's a big game for him then. Returning home, should have a lot of tickets there, and I think the Commanders stomp on him.
Well, don't forget, it's a big game because of what happened last year when they came to D.C. too, the Hail Mary game.
Yeah, you're right. That was what electrified the Washington. Like, without that play, Caleb Williams could have been Rookie of the Year, and the Washington Commanders may have been like a 3-win football team without that play.
Commanders I think they were 5-2. Bears were 4-2 when that game happened. Commanders go on, they win 10 of their next 12, and then the Bears lose 10 straight after that game.
Are you taking the Bears then for a revenge spot, or would you?
No, of course not.
So Commanders minus 4.5 then.
So I'll be honest, the 4.5 thing, I'm not gonna bet. I'm not gonna bet the spread. Now I said this already, but I give out all my picks for every game on WSN.com. I did take the Commanders there. I did take them at -4.5. Am I going to bet that personally, knowing what other options I have available to me with player props and stuff like that? No, I'm going to go somewhere else. The case that I can make for the Commanders is they have been awful in the first quarter. Really, the first quarter I feel like is going to define this game. I was looking into the numbers. The Bears actually lead the NFL in first quarter scoring. And to me, that's the Ben Johnson effect. That's having a great offensive coordinator, gets a great script, great game plan. You go out there, you execute it. That's how you do it. The Commanders, I want to say, are 28th in first quarter scoring. From that point on, quarters 2, 3, and 4, the Commanders go from 28th to 4th. The Bears go from 1st to 18th. So if we get to the end of the first quarter and it's a tie game, the Commanders are winning, then I'm like, okay, they're probably going to win pretty comfortably. The Commanders have also gone down at least 10-0. It's either been 10-0 or 14-0 in 3 of their last 4 games in the first quarter. So at the end of the first quarter, if they're down 10-0 again, then it's like, okay, Bears might win this, or it's going to be a 1-point win for the Commanders.
So where are you leaning for your props in this one?
So I've got some interesting ones. This is my team, obviously. So I've dug deep here. I hope you're going to enjoy these. So my first one, Bill Jacory Krosky-Merritt over 61.5 rushing yards. He's only gone over this line twice in his NFL career. However, last week was the first time in his career he clearly became RB1. The backup, Chris Rodriguez Jr., did not get on the field until the third quarter. Bill took 14 carries for 111 yards. Both times he's gotten 10-plus carries. He's gone over this line. He leads the NFL in yards per carry at 6.6. Meanwhile, this is one of my favorite stats that I've found this year. The Bears are allowing 6.1 yards per carry. That is the most in the history of professional football since the Cincinnati Reds in 1934. Yeah, the baseball team. They were a football team in 1934. They allowed 6.3 yards per carry. So that's what you're dealing with there from the Bears. So I think the Commanders just run it all over them. Another pick, I'm going to go Zach Ertz, anytime touchdown scorer. For the first time in his career since 2014, last Sunday, he played a game, didn't have a catch. Thought that was pretty remarkable. It's a testament to his consistency over the year. But Terry McLaurin looks like he's not going to be playing again. The Bears are not going to be stupid. I still think Bill's going to go over, but they also know they suck at defending the run. So I think they're going to be stacking the box. That leaves Ertz isolated in one-on-one situations without your top man-beating receiver in Terry. When you get to the red zone, Zach Ertz is already Jaden's most trusted target in those situations. I think you can find a favorable matchup, and you're getting plus 200 odds for this. So I think that's really good value on it. And then the final one, which is also a little bit off the board, but one that I really like, Olamide Zaccheaus, longest reception over 14.5 yards. It sounds weird, but he controls the slot. He's the guy who's working over the middle of the field. If you watch the Commanders this season, when they were playing a lot of man and match coverage early on in the year, Bobby Wagner was constantly getting taken advantage of because at 35 years old, he's losing his speed quite quickly. He cannot carry guys vertically over the middle of the field. And then over the last couple of weeks, the Commanders have switched to a zone-heavy defense. Well, quarterbacks are still throwing right at the zone, right next to Wagner. Justin Herbert did that all game last weekend. Justin Herbert didn't finish with a lot of yards, but he was highly efficient when he was throwing the football. And that fits Zaccheaus as well. So I like that prop.
I like it. So I have one receiving prop in this game, probably my favorite one in a while. I will be taking DJ Moore over 3.5 receptions. His receptions have dropped off significantly in years past. They were used to be a team that's going to get the ball to him in space and let him cook. Now he got more guys around. I think this is a spot where he does go over 3.5, though. He has hit it in 3 of his 4 games so far this season. Had 5 against the Lions on September 14th. Then he had 4 against the Cowboys. Then he had 4 against the Raiders. I think this is a spot coming off the bye week that they got to try to get him the football a little more, get him in space. He's a very good receiver, and they got to use him a little more. So I would take him over 3.5 receptions there. When it comes to the touchdown props, I mean, I do like Jacory Krosky-Merritt to get in the end zone. It's minus 135. I feel like that's a good parlay piece. But I also think this is the week DJ Moore finds the end zone plus 195. He's got 1 touchdown so far this season coming out of the bye week. Again, this is a spot where you got to try to get your better players the football. He's one of those guys. His production's got to go up. If that is the case, I think he could find a way to score.
Yeah, I think that's a good play as well because Roma Dunze this season scored at least 1 touchdown in every game, 5 touchdowns. leads the team in receptions, leads the team in targets, leads the team in receiving yards. He's also 6'3", so physically he's more of a mismatch. So it wouldn't be a surprise to see the defense roll the coverage on his side and give some more favorable opportunities. And the Commanders do want to be an aggressive man-style team, which works well because they are blitz-heavy. It works well on the defensive front, but their secondary isn't great. So if the offensive line holds up at all, you're usually getting receivers running free. So that could be DJ Moore.
Definitely. Well, Grant, that was the Ride the Line podcast. We were riding today on Ride the Line.
We were riding today. Terry, so how long do I have to go? How many weeks do I have to not have a losing week against the spread for it to be classified as a heater?
I think
this will be 6 weeks.
Yeah, 6 is probably a good week. What do you mean not? So like, are you going like there's 16 games? So what? Like you're 9-7 every time at least?
Yes.
Yeah, I think this is probably a good week to say that.
Okay. Last week was my best week. I actually have been, for the most part, right on that 9-7 sort of mark. Last week, I went 9-5 because obviously we've got some bye weeks now. The percentage isn't crazy. I think it's like 58%, but still that's good. And if we get another winning week, I mean, we're still making money.
That's really good. And this podcast is really good too, Grant. Tell the people where they can find us moving forward.
Right here, guys. So if you do want to be locked in for future episodes, make sure you do hit that subscribe button. Also, the number one way you can support us is by hitting the like button. It takes 2 seconds out of your day, means nothing to you, means everything to us. As we mentioned at the beginning, if you're still watching right now, and if you want to find out how to get some promo codes for the sports books for potentially thousands of dollars and bonuses, just leave a comment, Ride the Line, comment whatever the heck you want. We'll respond to it and we'll let you know.
Yep, definitely. That was Ride the Line, guys. Greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. We'll see you next time for another episode.